there is a fair in Düsseldorf, a fair for caravans, and I will be participating in that fair as a visitor in order to validate our business model. And that's why I want to talk a little bit about this concept of validating your business model on a fair. I mean, in the end, we want to build a business in that space. And in order to validate before building, by the way, and which is very, very important, because otherwise you will spend tons of money and especially tons of your time, which in the end is also money, on maybe building a product that is not even worth building, right? That is not even solving a problem. That is maybe not monetizable. That is maybe rather a vitamin than a problem. And before doing that, I decided to basically validate the idea by going to that fair. There will be a huge, loads of people I can ask, loads of potential customers, loads of insights. This will be like a fucking gold mine for me, because there will be so many potential clients and potential leads that I can acquire, but also just ask about their feedback and get their feedback on the problem, understand how big of a problem it is, understand if it is a problem, if my assumptions are correct. I mean, I have a lot of assumptions, I have a lot of hypotheses where I don't know, I just have a hypothesis or an assumption, and now it's about to validate these assumptions and hypotheses in order to see if we have a valid business model here, right? And that's why I'm looking forward to that fair. I mean, I'm not an extrovert. I would say I'm rather an introvert. So I'm not like that easy in going out and talking to people. But it's always, after you do it a couple of times, you get warm with it, and then you kind of like do it. So not a problem. We'll do it. We'll handle it anyway. And I'm looking forward, man. Looking forward a lot, because in the end, I have the feeling that this will save us a lot of time down the road, hopefully tell us if we should go for that business or not, and then we know more for sure. I will keep you updated. I'll show you around, so stay tuned. This will be very cool. Old and middle-sized and small, medium-sized German enterprises will be there for sure. A lot of potential for business, man. Hopefully, let's see. Taking a quick break and enjoying the good German weather. As you can see, it's raining outside. 7:15, I think it's right now. We are 10 to 15% down the road, so we have a lot of kilometers to go still. But yeah, having a quick break. We're currently at a typical German rest station, so you can see. You can sit down there, you can go to the restrooms here. A lot of trucks standing around, and you can park with your normal cars here. And then you have cars like this. Look at that car. It's not that healthy anymore. And there's a lot of junk in the car, actually. Very interesting. Typical German Autobahn Raststation. So this is basically a motorway, rest station here. You can see not a lot happening. We'll just take a quick walk and then continue from here. All right, guys, the Eagle has landed. We just parked the car. Here's a huge parking lot, as you can see here. Now I'm just walking toward the fair. Looks cool here. I'm very excited. A lot of people, a lot of cars. I think this will be quite a huge and big fair. And I think that most of the, let's say, target people that I'm not targeting, of course, are older people, of course, like seniors, people that are retired, right? They have the money for a caravan. Yeah, pretty logic. So I'd say the average age here is above 50 for sure, maybe even above 60. Yeah, it's interesting, very interesting. So they have a lot of purchasing power, I would say. Let's see. All right, guys, time to pause and reflect a little bit. So I had a couple of talks with potential leads and clients. I have acquired one guy for our customer advisory board. He basically got the problem that we tried to solve, but it appears that the most or the rest of the others, they were either not the correct target group, so they were not the sellers that we attracted, like the sellers of caravans, or they didn't have the problem because they had a solution already. So this appears to be one solution already, like a CRM system, ERP system for caravan dealers that kind of like solves the problem that we have already on a different approach via APIs. Although there are some inconsistencies there. So for some caravans it doesn't work, for some it does work. So it's a little bit not consistent. So the solution works, but not for all. But indeed, still, most of the customers that I talked to, or potential leads here at this fair, that were not interested in a solution, were not interested because this one solution already worked for them and basically resolved the potential problem that we have identified. So it seems that the target group is a little bit more, closer and smaller, more niche target group, where we have to kind of like focus on caravan dealers that do not use that ERP system. And then I asked one of the sellers why they don't use it, and the seller said they basically not all of them use it because they either don't know, or because moving from one ERP to the other ERP just takes too long. Yes, so let's see if we can find a couple other dealers that have the problem still because they don't use that solution, and just to get a market grasp, bottoms up market grasp on how much of the market this one solution already covers, and see if we can have a viable business model for the rest of the market. Folks, so day one finished. I'm quite exhausted. It was a quite busy day. Driving here 6 hours and then doing, in the fair for another about 6 hours now. I think it was a very productive day because we had a couple assumptions that we kind of like validated, kind of like falsified. I will have to do a little bit of research because I'm not sure. So the main idea here, the main things that we discovered is that most of our potential clients that I talked to, they have this problem, or let's say they had it until they basically found a solution for the problem, which is the main ERP, so Enterprise Resource Management or Planning System they use. There's one in the market which solves the problem that we basically want to solve, as I said, with APIs, and all the rest does not or do not solve it. So we have to basically focus on the ones that do not use that one ERP system. We need to focus on the ones that basically use other ERP systems than the one that solves it. That's the basic conclusion to this day, to this moment. There's another day tomorrow, so we have a ticket for tomorrow as well. We'll see tomorrow, maybe get another 20 potential clients to talk to and validate and get some insights. But for now, that's basically the main results of the day. I will have to write it down. The cool thing is that I used WhatsApp to send myself some voice messages every time I talked to a customer or potential client. I basically made a voice recording of the insights, so I have everything voice recorded. For now, my my gut feeling of this day is a little bit like this, not like this and not like that, because there were a couple interested clients, but there were also a lot more who were like, we already have a solution. So let's see how this evolves tomorrow. Now it's time to enjoy the beautiful sun out here in Düsseldorf. Let's see. Never been here. It's my first time in Düsseldorf, so let's see if we can find a spot, if I can find a spot to eat. Now, first I'll hit the gym and then find something to eat, and then tomorrow again. So this is the room I'll be staying in. I have one bed, small desk, wardrobe, and a pretty simple bathroom. Yeah, that's basically it. Morning. Today is day 2 of the fair, so we parked the car. Prior to coming here, I basically tried to write down the insights from yesterday, from my interviews and talks yesterday and my validation yesterday, to see and find let's call it the hole which we should address with our product, and I tried to validate hypotheses. To be honest, I found out that there is need for the product, but only from a certain group of customers. And I found that most of these, most probable target group customers, they are not the ones that I talked to yesterday. So the ones I talked to yesterday were contract dealers, right? So they were working with the makes of the caravans themselves, and they were contract partners with them. And the problem with these contract dealers is that they mostly already have software, and they have kind of like a system in place, which software to use based on what the contract partner tells them. So most probably there's a contract partner, and this contract partner tells them to use this software, our competitor kind of like, and that's why they do not have the problem, because they use the software. But there's a set of dealers that are not contract partners in that space, and they most probably have the problem, because every single one that I talked to yesterday, it was not that many, was 2, they had the problem. So now my goal of today, it is to basically make sure to find those non-contract dealerships and salesmen from there, like the ones who insert the cars, which could be salesmen or disponents, to find them and to basically talk to them and validate the problem. This will be a little bit harder because in the end, I have to identify them from the visitors, so they will be among the visitors. And I did a little bit of thinking about that and a little bit of AI. And I think the biggest chance I have to find those is in the halls where the supply and the equipment is sold. So there's like suppliers that basically showcase their equipment for caravans and technology. And most probably the ones I'm looking for are not the ones at the sales like that are selling the caravans, but the ones who are selling or who are visiting the equipment. So the visitors that are basically in the halls where the equipment manufacturers are basically showcasing their products. That's where I will most probably find my ideal customers, in the form of visitors, if you could understand what I mean. And so this will be very interesting. I'm very curious if I will find them. So wish me luck. Wish me luck in identifying them, and then also having a good conversion rate of getting into a little bit of a talk with them. It will be a try. So for me now, I have to go to hall number, I think it was hall number 13, and then see it from there. Alright guys, we're out here. A small update. We have talked to a couple people and basically got some more insights, but we're not yet finished. Still a couple more to do. A little bit more insights, was a bit more, let's call it positive insights today. So for now, looks good. Guys, we are in the premium segment. These are like couple premium trucks and campers. I think average order size is like, or average size here is like 766,000 euros for this truck, for example. These ones are way bigger and way more luxurious, and thus also way less visitors here. Wow, these ones look crazy. Look at that. Wow, there's a whole truck. Damn. Oh, look at this. The size of these wheels. It's like look at how big the wheel is. Wow. Damn shit. What the fuck? Look at how big these trucks and caravans are. These ones are like special size. Well, we did a couple more talks and a couple more customers that we talked to. Very interesting. A couple important insights. And the insights we got from the talks today were a little bit contradictory to the insights we got yesterday, because it kind of like validates our hypothesis or hypotheses. The insights that I got today. So let's see. Might make sense to basically really go deep into the market, because today we got a little bit more positive feedback, validating feedback regarding our hypotheses, more than yesterday. But we also talked to, let's say, better customers, and we understood the market way better, which is why the customers that I talked to today were way more suitable to our business model and to the thing we want to solve. And I think the fair already amortized itself, so we got the most important learnings we want. Wow, look at these trucks, by the way. Whew. They're insane, $1 million trucks. Oh, this one looks crazy. Yeah, we got the insights. I'm happy. I think we validated quite a lot. Yesterday I had the feeling, oh, this doesn't look that good, but I'll make a final conclusion tomorrow. All right, folks, day 2 finished. I'll be going to the hotel now. It was a very insightful day, to be honest. We got a lot of insights, especially from this last guy that I talked to. He was very talkative, so he liked to talk for sure. I think we talked for about 45 minutes. At this point, I talked to so many people that I'm seeing everywhere the people I talk to. It's very interesting. Very interesting insights, very good insights. I have validated a lot of hypotheses falsified. There's some of them quantifiable and some of them not quantifiable. So there are qualitative hypotheses and quantitative hypotheses. The quantitative ones I didn't validate for sure. This was more qualitative. I got a kind of like a market signal to build the product, especially if I solo build it or bootstrap it and don't make a VC case out of it. For a VC case, way too small. My first assumption. For a normal business that you don't VC and raise money for and bootstrap, I would say is a good one, but I'll make a conclusion tomorrow. Alright folks, I'm in the car back to Berlin on the road, and I just wanted to conclude the fair, my experiences, how this will all continue, and generally some highlights, lowlights. First of all, I think one thing that I've definitely learned is that having a fair is one of the best ways to validate a business idea, especially if it's a B2B business idea. I'm not sure if it's a very good idea to validate a B2C business idea, for sure as well, in some ports, to see where things are going, but especially being able to talk to so many, industry experts and people that might be potential customers is really enlightening, and it really saves you a lot of time, a lot of headache. Now let's get into detail what concretely we have learned. We've learned at this fair, I've learned that there are some major players on the market already that solve it in a different way, the problem that we want to solve, that mostly our target group is the users that don't, or people in the market that don't use that product, because that product usually solves it, but in a different way, so that the problem doesn't become that eminent anymore. So it doesn't take them that much of a pain anymore when they use a product. So it's about businesses that don't use the product. And these businesses that don't use the product mostly are not that established, not that big companies that aren't that professional or serious. That's the customers we need to attract. For all of those customers that don't use that one product, there's definitely a big problem. That's what we saw. The problem is kind of like validated. We just have to now quantify if it's a viable business size, like if the market is big enough. Right? In the end, the market is a very niche market in a niche market, kind of like it's niche in a niche. I will do a bottoms up calculation when I'm back in Berlin. I'll be calculating how much percent of the market this one tool basically already covers, and then basically calculate bottoms up with my prices how much of a revenue potential and market size I can see there still to be discovered and still to be get. And the cool thing is that when we start the business, of course, we can always upsell, right? We can always say, okay, I will upsell now to the next segment, and maybe we'll at some point also go into war with that one existing product, make it better. I mean, the existing product is very old. It was built in 2009, I think. I mean, it's the industry standard, they call it, but it's still not a good UI UX. I talked to a couple of customers that use that product. So there's definitely also more potential to also get these guys to disrupt the existing player. By the way, funny side story, in the hotel that we stayed, or that I stayed in Düsseldorf, this Asian guy, who apparently seems to be the owner or managing director of the hotel, he did literally every single thing you can do in this hotel. Literally everything. There was no employees, only him and his wife, and he was doing literally every job you can think of. He was the receptionist. He was the guy in the parking lot. So when you had to park, it was a very narrow parking lot, a very, very narrow parking lot. And it was basically behind it was between buildings, basically, a parking lot, and very narrow. So you had like parking space for about 10 cars, but you always had to move cars to move out one car. It was very, very, very narrow and very chaotic a little bit. And this guy was literally even taking care of that. Cleaning the room, housekeeping, and even doing the breakfast. This guy was literally taking care of everything. He didn't delegate anything except that his wife was sometimes taking over housekeeping. But this guy was everywhere all at once, even when I arrived very late. I arrived very late on a Tuesday evening. I think it was 10 p.m. or so. And this guy was literally doing the check-in, gave me the keys. He was sending me the invoice. He was even the one doing the accounting stuff. This guy was really, really diligent. I think hard worker, very inspiring. Not sure about him not delegating anything, but must be because of the margins. I think I can imagine that the hotel business is a very margin low business. Very fascinating story, this guy. Fascinating entrepreneur. What a crazy guy this was, huh?